Warning: the following video contains explicit language, which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Nice to see everybody here. Been a while, huh? I've been really busy. Usually February and March are my busiest months, aside from the holidays, of course, because it's like everything that comes due on my pickup happens right around those 2 months, so I got a lot of running around and stuff to do and bills to pay and the routine. So I don't really get much energy to want to do these videos after. But today I felt, I could do something because I've had sort of a couple of days here where I don't really need to do anything. Otherwise, weather here is, about the same. I mean, we had a nice day today. It was sunny out and all. Temperature wasn't so cold. But, we get, some rain. We get a little bit of snow. We haven't got a lot. I mean, I think so far the most we've ever picked up from a snowstorm was maybe 2-3 inches, if that. But we really haven't got much. There's still some snow on the ground, but most of the roads are just pretty well clear, and there's nothing on them. No ice, no snow, no nothing. So it's just, a very mild winter, and we haven't really had that many cold days. I think last week we had, below zero temperature a couple of times, and it was like maybe 2 or 3 below. And then when you add some wind into it, like 15 mile per hour wind, it gets like maybe 12 or 13 below or something like that. But it's just really mild. I mean, I've seen way colder winters in this state in my lifetime than what we're getting now. I mean, this feels like maybe like like Boston or something. I don't know. It's not that severe a weather. Now, I'm sure people would still be bitching anyway. That we don't got some snow. And the roads just like, yeah, but they haven't really laid down as much dirt and salt this year as they usually do. So I have to say that there's definite change out there for winter in the state. And of course the groundhog says we're going to have an early spring, but I could have said that anyway because we've been getting mostly wet and rains, wet snow and rain this winter. So that right there tells me that we're probably going to get an early spring because the temperatures aren't cold enough to sustain a winter all the way through. So we're going to probably see temperatures getting warmer sooner than we should for the end of winter. Anyway, one of the things that's a lot of people have been talking about, and I know this is kind of beating a dead horse now because I'm sure most of you probably already know, but the fact that the Senate was unable to pass the border bill that Biden and the Democrats had really compromised themselves a lot on to make happen, or to make this bill. There was a lot of things that they years ago they wouldn't have even agreed to, but they went ahead and did it. But they had the caveat in the bill that if they wanted this border bill the way they kind of wanted it, they'd have to approve continued funding for Ukraine and Israel and stuff like that. And the Republicans would like you to believe that that was the reason why they didn't go along with this bill. However, Biden is willing to say, look, let's just make a bill for the spending alone, and we'll see what happens. Okay, we'll just take the border part right off the bill, and we'll just see if we can't get that passed. That, about the war in Ukraine, and see if we can't get that through. Well, they're not going to go with that either. Okay, they've been screaming about cutting the goddamn funding for those two wars right now for months, with Marjorie Taylor Greene leading the way. Okay, so I don't see that that's actually going to work. But basically, what Biden is doing is they want us to see. He's trying to show us what this Republican Party is made of, and it's basically just crap. Okay, they're following Donald Trump, they're following his orders, and if they don't follow his orders, he sends MAGA supporters after people that don't agree with him. Okay, it's like mob boss mentality. That's the only way he knows how to lead. Okay, as he's the Don. Okay, the Don Corleone, and everybody else under him is fucking captains and lieutenants. Okay, they all follow what he tells them to do, and they go out and they beat up people and stuff. I mean, did you see last week about that 32, 31-year-old guy who beheaded his goddamn father? Because they were having a debate on politics, and this kid he said, well, kid, I say kid, this 31-year-old nut is a fucking MAGA supporter. Okay, that came out. He's all for Trump, but because him and his father couldn't see eye to eye on it, he got so fucking mad that he shot him, and then he beheaded him. And I'm like, what the hell? I mean, who the hell does something like that? I mean, yes, I know you hear about this in the Middle East and in Saudi Arabia and stuff like that, but are we becoming that here now? Okay, I mean, I was amazed at how quickly that went through the news and just kind of disappeared, But this was done live on YouTube, okay? And when somebody called the police about this and showed, and the police got on YouTube and saw what was happening live, they had to get YouTube to shut that thing down, that stream down, because it was all over the fucking internet. Now, I'm sure somebody probably recorded that to whatever point until it stopped. Okay, and the video is probably still out there floating around, but you're not going to find it, in any normal way. Okay, because if it ever gets out, they'll find out who posted it, and they'll get in trouble because they're not supposed to have it. It's a bloody mess, and the fact that some people had seen it happen as it was happening. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, some people thought it was fake, because today everybody's doing fake things. I mean, they're making videos and they're putting things in there that they're arguing is real, and it's not. It's all added shit, or AI crap, or whatever you want to call it. They're putting edited videos up there. YouTube these days is filled with it now. It's swarming with all kinds of shit. And so people naturally thought that was a fabrication made up by some fucking programmer or something like that, until all of a sudden the feed was cut off. Then that was like, oh, maybe that was real, and then they hear about it in the news later. Okay, so yes, it was real, it did happen, and it's deplorable that on top of everything else that we have to deal with online, which was it Friday or Thursday last week? They were talking to the heads of the fucking internet companies, like X and Facebook and Instagram, and what I'm saying, all these people that run these companies, basically getting a lip service by the Republican Party, but they had really no intention of doing anything to them but slap them on the wrist, okay? But it was all a big dog and pony show where they were arguing they're saying kids are getting their lives ruined by the internet, okay? Which, yeah, some kids have. I mean, there are some, kids in school are being bullied through it. They're being blackmailed through it. Some kids have actually been, committed suicide because of stuff that's happened to them while they were online, okay, where some pictures of them were put out there. You know what it is. You know what's going on. I mean, Christ, we hear about this shit all the time. I mean, Lifetime's made like a ton of fucking movies based on that crap. But here's the thing: they go to the Republicans, bring this up to them, and they make it look like, oh, we're on the public side. Yet most of these people are getting all kinds of money, donations to their campaigns. A lot of these people are. So do they really want to see, you know, these people get hurt financially? Of course not. It's just an act, okay? And I feel like, you know, people that were watching it and clapping and applauding, thinking the Republicans are on their side, you got fooled, okay? You got fooled. That's not the case. All right, this was just to shut you up. They had that whole thing just to shut you up. You're not going to hear any more about it until the public demands to hear more about it. After that, I mean, it's just, you know, they're not going to stop it. They aren't going to stop it. They're putting their well-being, the politicians' coffers are being put above your needs as a parent to make sure that your kids can safely use the internet without having to, you know, see nudity or whatever being displayed, you know, in front of their eyes, you know, and that's basically the way the Republican Party runs things today. I mean, they want everything their way, and they don't care who they got to compromise to get what they want. And in this case here with the border issue, it's just that example again. Okay, they don't want to pass that bill, which they know is what they want, but they don't want to pass it under a Biden administration because Biden would take all the credit, okay, for having done something on the border. Instead, what they would rather see is the Texas governor, Greg Abbott, down there, you know, throwing his fat around with the feds, you know, trying to say, well, you can't come down here and tell us how to put our border up or, you know, take the wires down and, you know, and all that shit. You can't tell us, okay? Really, you can't tell us. Now, it sounds like, you know, what happened, you know, before the Civil War broke out, you know, over 100 years ago. That's what the same line they were telling Abraham Lincoln back then, is that, you know, you can't tell us what to do. It's our state. It's our life. You have no right to come down here. Even though all these colonies, when we first came to this land, and all the states that were formed from it, all signed and agreed to follow the guidelines of what constitutes an American state. That was all laid out. What a state is supposed to do, it has to follow the laws of the government, the federal government, okay? So whatever the federal government says, you do, all right? Nobody gets special dispensation, you know, because they don't agree with something in there. I mean, everybody's got to follow it. They all agreed to that. And so, you know, here we are today where the state of Texas just doesn't want to follow those rules anymore. They don't even want to be part of the United States as far as I'm concerned. I mean, because the things that they disagree with the United States on are fundamental issues that founded this country. They really don't want to be part of this country. I don't know why they're not trying to secede, because they really ought to. They really ought to, because they're making things difficult on themselves. Okay, they're creating controversy where none should exist. And the border issue is something that should not be a controversy. And you know, what's funny is I heard a caller one day on the radio that was talking on a talk show that I follow once in a while. Call in, and he wasn't even an American, he was just from Mexico. And he said, and I'm going to try to remember exactly how he said this, but he said that, you know, the United States doesn't want to have intelligent Mexicans in their country. And what he meant by the intelligent Mexicans, you know, from Mexico, is that people that are up in the upper classes, that are wealthy down there, they don't want those people coming into America and setting up, you know, their home here, okay? And the reason and why he said this is because if you take a look at the process that it requires a person to become a citizen here, you're looking at about a 10-year process and over $400,000 American money, okay, in that 10-year period in order to make somebody a citizen of this country. He says that's ridiculous. That's why you have a lot of people trying to cross illegally. They get here, okay, and after they've been here so many years, then they got to get citizenized, or whatever you want to call it, and then all they got to do is wait for a while to get the process to get a visa or something. It's a lot cheaper that way than to go the way the United States wants them to go, okay? And that's why a lot of them find it, the risk is worth it to try to cross and get away with it, okay? I can't blame, if that's, you know, if they're not making making a living in Mexico and they feel like they need to leave the country, why would you ask these people to pay $400,000 across a 10-year period to become a citizen when you know they ain't got it? That's the reason. They won't be able to come here. They don't want these people here, okay? The rich Mexicans in Mexico, what reason would they want to be here unless they just, wanted just to change citizenship or something? I don't know. I mean, those are the people less likely, I think, to want to come to this country and be a citizen because they're doing fine in Mexico. But the other people who aren't, who want to come here, no, we don't want them here because they're going to take up all the low-paying jobs, the labor market, okay? But it's the opposite. These people are constantly hired by wealthy people in the United States to come over here for the season, okay, and work in their crops and stuff like that, okay? That's been going on for decades, okay? And that some people even in Hollywood, actors and stuff, are doing that shit. They won't say nothing about it to anybody, but they know that that's what like they've been doing. And there's really no incentive to want to stop it. But it's not the fact that these people are coming here, it's the issue itself is what they want to keep going. What they want to keep alive. The whole debacle of, the border is in chaos and all this stuff. And we got to put up barbed wire. We got to put up walls. We got to have armed guards. We got to have more helicopters and this and that, and make it look like it's such a war zone down there, when it's anything but. I mean, there's all kinds of people online who can tell you that whatever you're hearing from the right wing about the border, it's bullshit. Okay, it's not nearly as bad as they're making it out to be. But it's good for them to keep saying that because it keeps the voters, the Republican voters, happy. They'll run to the polls to vote on that issue and then never see any change on it. And in this case, like I said, with Biden saying, okay, fine, we'll give you exactly what you want, and then we'll see if you want it. And they backed off because they knew Biden was playing serious then. They knew he was playing serious. He wasn't going to be screwing around arguing with them till the cows came home. He put it right in front of him. Here's your fucking bill. Do you want it or not? And they had to say no. I mean, in front of everybody in the country, they had to say no. And of course, they had to have their demagogues out there to spin it and to say, oh, well, he's trying to set us up. No, he wasn't setting you up. He was trying to show you, to the people, trying to show the people that you guys aren't serious about the border. You're not serious about a fucking thing, in fact. The only thing you care about is your own goddamn pockets and your own support and your fucking votes that you get. You want this problem to exist till forever because you guys have nothing else to run on. You have no plans for the economy. You got no plans for Ukraine and Israel. You've got no plans, okay, to help the homeless or to work on the job problem and stuff that there's parts of this country that are still dealing with. You've got no plans for a future for this country or the military or this or that, the problem over in China. You've got no plans for any of that. None of it. You didn't when Trump was president. Nothing he said he was going to do that he did. Nothing. That wall he said he was going to build, he got, a few miles out of that thing, and then that just stopped. That project stopped, okay? He didn't even finish it. There's still parts of that, standing in Texas that's all rusted and falling apart. They never finished that, okay? But he was never serious about any of that. And like I said, why don't these people, follow that story with the hatchet that they carry around when they're following Biden around? Okay, why don't they ever chase down Trump and say, why didn't you finish that? No, they don't go after him. All right, he can do no wrong. But they try to find wrong with Biden when he's not doing any wrong, okay? That's something that I can't understand what the hell it is with these maggots, okay? Why they do what they do here. It's obvious that they're being guided by people with interest, self-interest and stuff that they have nothing to do with the well-being of America. They're just trying to create chaos in this country is all they're doing. The more chaos, the better they like it because when people are pissed off, angry, and killing each other, okay, that's the kind of people you can sway to get them to vote for you. Like you got the answer to all that, okay? That's what they want. And right now, they're really less of a minority party than they've ever been right now. Their ideas and stuff that they stand for, like all this shit against women and everything that they're all on right now, it's not popular. Only a small faction of this country's females even will side with that. The rest of the country ain't stupid enough to follow that kind of thinking. So Trump's got no popularity with the women there. And that's a big arm of this country's vote. If he can't secure that, he ain't going to win shit, you know, come November. But like I said, he's you know, he's playing this pretty close to the vest, I think. Because I say that because the right wing doesn't seem to be in the know as they should be on what his agenda is all about, even though he's sort of made it obvious to the Democrats what he stands for, but the Republicans seem to keep missing that. You know, and I don't know why the Republicans can't see the handwriting on the wall, but it's pretty obvious to everybody else what he's all about. But, you know, it's going to be to their detriment that if they vote for him and he wins, these people will still see nothing added to their lives to make them happier. They'll get nothing from it. Okay, and they'll turn around and still blame the Democrats. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because that's what Fox News and OAN and fucking, you know, the other Republican outfits out there are trying to do. They're trying to sell these people on a bed of goods that just don't exist. Okay, and I feel like, you know, hey, if you guys can't, you know, you've been fooled once, you've been fooled twice, you've been fooled 3 times, you've been fooled 4 times, 5 times. You know, when are you guys going to wake up and stop being fooled? You know, stop it. All right, let's go to a commercial break. Be right back.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me!
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
When I see the Make America Great Again, my comment is, do you accept that could possibly be construed as a racist remark? And most people, a lot of people go, how could that be racist? Make America great again? I said, so just ask yourself from an African-American experience, when was it ever great in America for the African-American? When was it great? So if you're making it great again, it's not including them. So it's to teach us in the woke world to open up and accept the possibilities that our privilege has created blind spots for us. And maybe I haven't seen what is really happening yet in all my years.
Infrastructure. Nobody can do that like me. The infrastructure is very easy. And infrastructure will get that done easily. We are going to put up one of the big and great infrastructure bills of all time. We call it Infrastructure Week.
Okay, here we go. Yeah. Bravo.
Dear Republicans, how can Joe Biden take your guns away?
He's going to take your guns away, you know that, right? Biden.
Didn't Barack Obama take them away in 2008 and 2012?
Obama wants your guns. How is that anything but fear-mongering?
It is actually quite accurate.
There have been more guns sold since I've been president than just about any time in U.S. history.
Oh, right. It was just another Republican lie. It never happened. Donald Trump and the Republicans have been using this fake threat for decades. And while we're clearing up BS, Joe Biden doesn't want to defund the police.
I'm the only one who's talked about increasing police budgets.
Joe Biden isn't soft on border security. Joe Biden won't raise your taxes unless you make over $400,000.
I'm really rich.
And remember all those Hillary Clinton she's dying stories from 2016?
She can't make it 15 feet to her car. Give me a break.
More BS.
I do have the unique experience of having shared a debate stage 3 times with Donald Trump, and I know that he will do or say anything.
She's fine.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Welcome back, Neil. Well, this interesting bit of science news here coming out that the experts want to change or make an adjustment to the Saffir-Simpson scale, which is what we use to categorize the strengths of hurricanes. Okay. For years, 5 was considered the highest. Now they want to add a 6 because the waters that are warm is what gives these hurricanes their strength. And we've been following the warming of our oceans here from years, and it's getting warmer all the time. So now the hurricanes are getting stronger as a result. So they figure that a 5 isn't, according to their scale, isn't high enough. They need to add another level onto that. So they're talking about a category 6 they want to add to it. And there's a story here about that here on ABC News by Stephanie Ebb and Kenton Gewicki and Julia Jacobo. Hurricane experts are debating adding a category 6 on the current scale to highlight the increasing possibility of stronger storms as ocean waters continue to warm. Researchers are introducing an extension of the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale, the system used by the National Hurricane Center, to rank the strength of hurricanes to include a 6th category, beyond the Category 5 classification that indicates a storm with sustained winds of 157 miles per hour or more. According to a study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences on Monday, the scale currently rates a tropical system as a Category 1 hurricane once sustained winds reach 70 miles per hour. But the Saffir-Simpson scale is, quote, far from perfect, unquote, especially in terms of adequately warning residents in impacted regions of the potential dangers to come. Michael Weiner, a senior scientist at the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory and one of the authors of the paper, told ABC News, quote, some Category 3 storms are really deadly, and some Category 5 storms aren't by the time they make landfall, unquote, Weir said. The authors propose a Category 6 hurricane rating is necessary starting at 193 mile per hour of sustained wind, though Weiner admitted the choice of where to set that limit was somewhat arbitrary. When the scale was first introduced in the 1970s, It accounted for wind and water-driven destruction from storm surge, the paper highlighted. In 2010, the National Hurricane Center altered the scale to only account for just the wind. In addition, only 8% of tropical storm deaths are directly related to wind, while 76% of the mortality is related to the storm surge and flooding from heavy rain. Messaging around hurricane risk is a very active topic among researchers, and adding a sixth category is a way to raise awareness about the increased risks of supersized hurricanes due to global warming. James Cosson, Distinguished Science Advisor at environmental nonprofit First Street Foundation, and the other author of the study, said in a statement, quote, "Our results are not meant to propose changes to the scale, but rather to raise awareness that the wind hazard risk from storms presently designated as Category 5 has increased and will continue to increase under climate change," Cosson said. When examining extremes in hurricane wind speeds to determine whether the open-ended Category 5 is sufficient to communicate risk in a warming climate, the researchers found, quote, "a new breed of storms," unquote, in the last 10 years, Weiner said. Within that time frame, there have been multiple storms that may, quote, "have exceeded this hypothetical Category 6, unquote. The study looked at all 197 tropical cyclones around the world that were classified as a Category 5 from 1980 to 2021, which comprises the period of highest quality and most consistent data. Half of the Category 5 storms occurred in the last 17 years of that period, according to the study. Five of the storms examined exceeded the authors' proposed Category 6, and all of them occurred in the last 9 years of the record. Of the 5 storms achieving the proposed Category 6 status, one of them was Hurricane Patricia in 2015, which had weakened to a Category 4 as it made landfall in western Mexico. The other 4 storms were typhoons in the western Pacific. Quote, "If you looked at the beginning of the satellite record around 1980, there was essentially no risk of the Category 6 storm in 1980, said Weiner. Quote, "The trend in the speed limit is actually pretty strong," unquote. However, no hurricane in the Atlantic Ocean or the Gulf of Mexico has reached the study's proposed Category 6 level. Typhoons in the western Pacific do not use the Saffir-Simpson scale for intensity ratings. Statistical analysis showed the rapidly increasing risk is due to human changes in the atmosphere and not natural variability, Weiner said. Human-induced climate change and warming waters are fueling tropical cyclones with much windier conditions than the initial Category 5 threshold, entailed at 157 miles per hour, the author said. Quote, "We expected that the strongest storms will become stronger," unquote. Weiner said of how climate change will affect future tropical systems. "It will be necessary to change the speed limit of future hurricanes because as global temperatures rise, conditions like warmer ocean temperatures will increase the risk of seeing these so-called, quote, Category 6 storms. Warmer waters are also fueling rapid intensification as storms approach the coast, quote, which is very dangerous because it doesn't give people a lot of time to prepare," unquote. Jennifer Collins, a hurricane researcher at the University of South Florida, who was not involved in the study, told ABC News. Other experts have raised concern that adding a Category 6 to the scale increases the chance of people underestimating the risks from storms that are lower than the highest category. For example, if they choose not to evacuate for a Category 4 or a 5 storm because the higher category makes lower-rated hurricanes appear less dangerous. National Hurricane Center Director Michael Brennan said in a statement that they're focused on communicating the hazards and they don't want to overemphasize the wind hazard by placing too much emphasis on the category system. Quote, "At NHC, we've tried to steer the focus toward the individual hazards, which include storm surge, wind, rainfall, tornadoes, and rip currents, instead of the particular category of the storm, which only provides information about the hazard from wind," unquote, he said in a statement. In addition, Category 5 on the Saffir-Simpson scale already captures, quote, catastrophic damage, unquote, from wind. So it's not clear that there would be a need for another category even if storms were to get stronger. In response, Weiner described the Hurricanes Center's comments assessment as, quote, completely appropriate, unquote. Quote, we don't expect that the Hurricane Center or World Meteorological Organization will add this Category 6. It's certainly not for us to tell them what to do, unquote, Weiner said. Quote, that's not what we intend, unquote. Well, so they're, like I said, they're thinking about it. I mean, you have to. In this point right now where global warming is such an issue, the meteorological community is going to have to start to sit back and reassess the scales that they're using here to inform the public about, you know, what the risks are out there for, you know, the storms and, you know, what to expect. And for years we've heard the same 1 through 5 scale, you know, and so I think they figure, well, people are used to hearing that scale. And if you tell them a 6, they're probably not, it's not going to register unless they understand what that definition of the 6 means. And they're saying we should really just focus on wind power. You know, how strong is the force of the wind? What kind of flooding you're going to expect to get? That gets people more focused and helps them to understand better what kind of a storm is coming their way. But if you just tell them, oh, it's a Category 2 or a 3 or 4, you know, they only know 1's on the low end and 5 is the highest. But they can't tell you what the low end is, and they can't tell you what the high end is. You know what I'm saying? They just know it's bad. So adding another level may make some people confused to even say, well, has there ever been a 6 before? People aren't really that smart, you know, when it comes to weather science, you know. But the fact that they're debating this, the fact that they're talking about this, suggests that they notice that the power of our hurricanes is growing, okay, and that it's going to be more common than not to see a 5 in every season practically, and the days of a 1 and a 2 and a 3 are probably gone for a lot of parts of the world. You'll probably never see that again. So would adding a 6 make a difference? You know, to people, no. I think what they'd have to do is take the same 5 numbers they got for a level and just adjusting inside what defines a 1, what defines a 2, what defines a 3, 4. You know what I'm saying? Where 1, it used to be 70 mile per hour winds. Well, let's jack that up to 90 to 100 mile an hour per winds now instead for a 1. Okay, but you know, the point is that when you do these things, you got to tell the public too what they represent. You got to pound it in their heads that, look, it's a 1, but look, 100 mile per hour winds is nothing to balk at. Okay, that's, you know, that's something that, you know, could tear your house down, you know, or blow debris in your face, you know, or shatter windows or something. You know, it's not something that you can just sit home and eat a box of wheat thins over and just say, oh, we'll be out of this by the morning. No. By morning, half the house will be underwater. You know, you'll have alligators swimming around in your fucking living room. I mean, these are the things that you cannot see in a category number or something. So it's really important for people on TV that talk about the weather and stuff to kind of lay that out for people who don't understand the category levels, which they're talking about changing, okay? If you change it, and they didn't understand it before, they're still not going to understand it now. So you have to tell them, look, you know, this is a Category 1, which means yada, 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 okay? You have to define that category to people on the TV, on the news, when they're talking about these storms. That's the only way they're going to understand it. And I bring up Maine here because southern Maine has been hit pretty hard, flooding-wise anyway, all the way from, South Portland, Old Orchard Beach. Go online on YouTube. You're going to find all kinds of videos there of the damage that was wrought there already this winter from flooding. Christ, it looked like Florida, for Christ's sake, down there in southern Maine. In Portland, some businesses got washed right out to sea. You know, some lobster places and stuff like that. The buildings were just ripped right down from the waves, and the debris just pulled right out into the ocean. I mean, It's stuff you only see in Florida, okay, and even California, Southern California. They saw some flooding there for first time in a long time. So, you know, places in America are starting to see some pretty hectic weather that they never got before, at least not to that degree, you know. And, you know, the weather community, the meteorological community is going to have to make some changes on how they disseminate the severity of these hurricanes and tornadoes and whatever else is out there, okay? Because that tornadoes, that also includes high-powered winds and all that shit, okay? We got winds here, right here in you know, in Bangor, that was bad enough to knock down a whole bunch of big old trees, you know, and smash down power lines, and, you know, I mean, it did a lot of damage, and the winds are only getting stronger around here every year. They get stronger, they get worse. It's going to become something of a norm now when the seasons change, and it usually happens right around when the Earth tilts away from the sun or when it tilts back towards the sun. Those are the periods in the year that we get pick up those high winds, is when the Earth is shifting on its axis. Okay, I think that's got something to do with it. Okay, I don't know how that interacts with what creates that wind, but I just know that every time when we get these high winds, it's right around those solstices, okay, where we get that. And that's pretty close to where the seasons begin to change, okay? Like when we go from winter into spring, and then when we go from fall into winter, right around those periods right there, very close to where the Earth is changing on its tilt, that's when we pick up those high winds right here in Maine. And is that global warming? Well, I think that must play a bit, because, I mean, look, the Earth's been tilting on its fucking axis here, you know, for generations, okay? And we never used to get these high winds here before, back in the 80s. I mean, once in a great while, we might get a hurricane that would come pretty close up to the, you know, coastline of Maine, and we'd pick up some Category 2 winds or something, if that. But we would never get those seasonal winds like we've been getting now, okay? That's something new. That's something that kind of started during the late 90s, and it's been going on since. And it's getting stronger since. So it was right around that time when people started talking about global warming and the effects that it has on Earth. So yeah, I'd have to say yes, there's got to be a connection there, okay? And the fact that it's happening when the Earth is moving there while we're spinning around the sun, I would say that there's got to be maybe a combined trigger there with that, with the movement of the Earth and the changing of the seasons, as it were. You know, when you got the shifting of the water, warmer water coming up. I mean, you're even saying that the jet stream is just a little different now than it was. So that means we're picking up, you know, warmer, or, you know, water going further up, you know what I'm saying? And bringing up some weather that we don't normally get in this state, and bringing it up even closer here. So yeah, it's creating a whole new slew of different problems that people never had to deal with before. So soon living in Maine is going to be like living in Florida. People are going to want to have home insurance for hurricanes, you know, and that's what drove out the insurance companies down in Florida here recently, because they figured it's a lost cause, because every time we get a storm, we're going to have to pay out big to the homeowners and stuff out, you know, for their insurance repairs, you know, their home repairs. They don't want to do that no more, because the insurance companies are there not for you. They're there for themselves. They're there to make money, not to give out money, but to make it, to come in. They want your money, their payments every month. That's what they want. If they have to give any out, that's you know, hey, they kind of spend the money as they get it. And when they got to pay out, that's, you know, that puts them in the hole, because they're not sitting on that money waiting for a rainy day. They're spending it as they get it. Think about that. Say you were getting money. Say you're an insurance company and people are paying you $100 a month for your insurance, right? Well, you get that money. What are you going to do? You're going to put that in a vault somewhere and just let it sit there, or are you going to spend it? You know, if you spend it and you spend too much, and a hurricane comes and these people want help to rebuild their property, what's going to happen when you ain't got that money that you already turned around and spent it? See, that's the problem. You know, they spend the money as they get it, just like banks. You know, they're like banks in that fashion. Okay, they're only there to make themselves richer, not to help you out. And so when this happens, when these storms happen, and they do every year, I mean, I don't know why they think that's not going to happen. Like, oh, we're going to go a year without a hurricane. Bullshit! It happens every friggin' year. These insurance companies know better than this. Okay, they know. But yet they go down there, they try to set up shop, they try to make money, and they expect that Mother Nature is going to cooperate. Okay, sorry, it don't work that way. Mother Nature doesn't recognize you as a hurdle that it needs to hop over. Okay, you're just another ant on an anthill. I mean, it's just okay. When it has to do what it's got to do, it's going to do it. So it's funny that, you know, the insurance companies up and left Florida the way they did, like, oh my God, you know, this just not going to work. It never had a chance of working in that state, you bozos. I mean, you saw the handwriting on the wall for decades, and you argued against it. You said there's no such thing as global warming. You know, you were paying people all kinds of money to go out and say that, but now it's happening and you can't stand it, and you're just saying, screw it. So you'd rather shut down your business and move to another state. Well, what makes you think the next state you go to is going to be any less not hit? Every part of this country is going to be affected by global warming in its own way. And it's all going to be very strong. It's all going to be very deadly. And it's all these people are going to expect you to help them out at the end. So what are you going to do? You're just going to say no more insurance companies? We're just going to shut everything down? Well, what do you think that's going to leave this country looking like? Somalia? or some, tropical oasis somewhere where we're all living in huts and shit, guys, people are going to depend on help when they need it. And of course, this puts the burden further on the federal government, which the right wing's out there saying, no, you don't want it, them coming to your aid. That's the worst thing in the world to hear. So they don't want you to have insurance. They don't want you to have government help. What do they want? They want to see everybody out on rafts somewhere, struggling. I don't understand it. Okay, but like I said, these companies aren't there for you, they're there for themselves. And this global warming mess is really costing them a bundle in Florida, and that's why it's a hard task to perform to find somebody down there who will insure your home. That's why a lot of people have left already. More will leave as things get worse down there, and it's getting worse in Florida, whether it's through the weather or through leadership in their damn political structure in that state, which is ridiculous. Christ, I mean, they're talking about what the hell was it? They're trying to prevent people from leaving Florida for, or something along the lines about abortion. You're not allowed to leave. They can arrest you or something. It fits right in line with this commercial that I saw that the Lincoln Project was putting out. This scenario where this mother is trying to take her daughter out of the state to another state where she can get an abortion, and the police pull her over and they ask the girl, are you pregnant? And she wouldn't answer, and so they arrest her and her mother. And that was before all this shit with the Supreme Court and everything happened. So at the time when they made that commercial, it was kind of, like a warning, this could happen, and then it happened. And now we have that reality living with that. Dystopian prediction is actually here now. People can be arrested now if you're trying to get an abortion. Okay, so, hey, we don't, Democrats don't make up shit just to scare you to go vote. We make up shit to warn you, or make up shit. We predict stuff is going to happen if you do what you've been doing. And if you stop doing what you've been doing, then you won't have much to worry about. But if you keep supporting the wrong players, you keep supporting the wrong kinds of people, to be your leaders in government and in the state, you're going to see your world around you change in ways you're not going to like. And you're going to wonder, where the hell did we go wrong? And why do they think they can do this and get away with it? These are the questions that are already being asked right now. Even though Biden's president, a lot of states are taking it onto themselves to do what they want. They don't care what the president says. They don't care what the federal government says. I mean, like with Greg Abbott, he doesn't care. He's not following the federal government. He's deliberately locking horns with the federal government over what he wants to do with his own fucking border in that state, okay? Even though it makes no logical sense, because Texas is not the only state that border crosses through, okay? If the other states don't do the same thing, then the immigrants are still going to come through. Okay, so it's not going to help Texas unless they put a border a wall all the way around the entire state and keep everybody out. So what he's doing is just political posturing. He's deliberately trying to set up a situation where he's going to butt heads with Biden over the border, okay? And like I said, that's going to get him nowhere. It might get him some hooting and hollering, some clapping and everything like that, but at the end of the day, his state's going to be at a disadvantage when they're going to need help from the federal government for things that happen in their state and they won't get it. The fleas come with the dog, as they say down there. So anyway, that's it for today, and I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. I don't know how soon I'll be coming back on here because, like I said, it's a busy time of the year for me. But you can always look at some of my previous videos and even those that Trick or Critique, where I talk about things. I might have some more movie reviews coming up soon. A new Godzilla movie's coming out, which I'll be seeing. The second part of Dune is coming out, which I'll be seeing that. So I'll be talking about those films when I'm able to go see them. They should be coming out soon because when they get the toys out for the stuff already, the movie's coming. Okay, it's coming soon. All right, that's how you can tell when you follow science fiction stuff like I do. That's when you can tell when these movies are fixing to come out within a couple of months. Okay, so it won't be too long, and when I go see them, I'll make sure that I discuss them on there. I don't like to make predictions about how I think I'm going to feel about a film before it comes out. I want to see it first before I say anything about it. That makes me different than a lot of people out there on YouTube that like to do movie critiques, as I don't go by the gossip behind the scenes or stuff like that. As an audience member, my only priority is to be entertained. Okay, and if I'm entertained when I see a film, then I'm going to let you know it. If not, I'll tell you that too. But I'm not going to cheat and just tell everybody, go see it or don't go see it. I'll see it, and then if you want to wait and see how I feel about it, at least you can take my word for it. I'm not pulling you some fast moves here. If I think it's good, then and if you had good luck seeing movies that I saw that I said were good, then maybe you'll go and see that too because I think that. But I'm not forcing anybody to believe what what I'm telling you, because what I like and what you like are probably two different things. So anyway, treat each other nice out there. Keep your ears open for COVID, because I think that's still something that's impacting a lot of areas of America here. They don't talk much about it, but it's out there. And like I said, this is going to be a very difficult year for a lot of us because of the political structure. It's going to get worse, people. I really think that it will. The thing about the beheading and all that stuff that I said in the last segment, that's probably going to repeat itself in different ways down the road from here on out. So don't be shocked if you hear about it. Just remember this. It's happened in history before. And we are good at repeating history. Okay. I'll see you guys later. Take care.